All right, here we go. The first made-in-China cruise ship has set off from its dock in Shanghai to begin a series of tests and trials in the sea. It's a breakthrough for the country's shipbuilding industry. Wu Bin has this.
Adora Magic City is China's first domestically built large cruise ship. After over 3 years of construction, it's left the building dock for the first time. From June 1st, the cruise ship started a series of final tests before the undocking today. And as we can see, the ship is now floated and everything is set for the ship to be moved out of the building dock. The undocking process lasted for about half an hour. Several small ships pulled Adora Magic City to the main channel of the Yangtze River Delta and then moved it to another dock alongside the river. It's considered a major step before delivery.
This means that all the installation work on the ship has been completed, and we move on to the commissioning of the system and the final stage of interior decorations.
In 2016, China's State Shipbuilding Corporation, the country's largest shipbuilding conglomerate, together with Italian shipbuilding company Fincantieri, signed an agreement to set up a joint venture with the aim of developing and expanding the Chinese cruise industry.
We all know that before COVID-19, China was already the second biggest market in cruise. And more importantly, we all know the potential that this market has. Therefore, I strongly believe that Fincantieri and CCTV, they are in the best position ever to develop the Chinese domestic cruise market together in the long term.
Adora is over 320 meters long and 37 meters wide. It can accommodate almost 5,300 passengers in its over 2,800 cabins. To build such a ship is no doubt a challenge. The liner has 25 million components, double the number needed to build an aircraft carrier. After the undocking, the ship is expected to conduct 2 trial sails in July and August. Although it's typhoon season in East China at this time of year, the designers are confident there will be no issues.
From the engineering manager's point of view, we just have to do a good job of planning ahead. It is not like typhoons occur every day. We will conduct trial sails when there is no typhoon. But at the same time, we have an emergency plan to pull the ship back to its building dock to avoid any typhoons.
The designer says the company has already met its annual goal for new orders this year. With work beginning last year on another, even larger cruise ship, there's no knowing just how quickly this industry may grow. Wu Bin, CGTN, Shanghai.
For more about what this announcement means for the Chinese cruise industry, we're joined by Jonathan Kao. He's Managing Director of BCD Travel, Greater China. Thanks for taking the time to join us, and good to see you again. You know, this is not the first time that China's gone into the sort of the cruise industry. I believe Carnival in the past with their different brands have tried to go into China with some success. Royal Caribbean has tried to go in there with some success. Norwegian Cruise Lines, and the list goes on. Then we had this thing with COVID that blew everything up, and everything came to a stop. And now we're sort of relaunching it again. I know this is a joint venture with Carnival, but Royal Caribbean is planning to base their ship, or I think they announced recently in 2024, they're going to be based out of in China, and to do this all over again. So the third or second time around that this is going to happen, what have we learned about the cruise ship industry and our Chinese customers?
Yes, Phil. So I think China has already quite a bit of a success before COVID hit us. So back in 2019, Shanghai is actually the largest port in Asia in terms of number of passengers boarding and departing on a cruise ship. So around 2.5 million people came through Shanghai. So I think it's unfortunately after COVID, the cruise industry is one of the hardest hit, and so far it has not recovered in pace with some of the other, like air travel domestically is already back to 100%, international wise is 40%. So we're really looking for the cruise industry to come back in China.
The cruise industry is unique in a sense that you go on the cruise and you're sort of, there's a cultural element to it, but there's also kind of a home element to it as well. And one of the things that I was talking about earlier with the Chinese customers is when they go on a cruise ship, they actually want to have Chinese food. So these cruise ship companies redid some of the restaurants, they made the casinos bigger, they put in more Chinese food, and there was some success And I'm wondering, from your perspective, was that or is that the right strategy?
Yes, I definitely think so. So what we call the Chinese stomach, right? So when we go on traveling, we still look for Chinese food or noodles. And so I think that with the new ship coming up, there is going to be a strong focus on the customer requirement. And also, I think there is a East meet West component as well, with a Silk Road theme on the ship. At the same time, some of the features are catered to Chinese and also Asia Pacific customers, like the 5G network, Wi-Fi internet network, that is going to be very important for the younger generation and those who have to be working, unfortunately, on the ship as well. And also, it's going to have the largest shopping center, duty-free shopping center on the cruise ship in the world. So that is also a big thing for the Chinese tourist.
And this is maybe another cultural difference. Here in the U.S., most cruise ships do 3 days, 4 days, and obviously the very popular 7-day cruise where you get on a plane, you go to Alaska, you go to Florida, and you do your sailing and you come back. In China, there are some complications when you take time off. Most of the time off is everyone's taking time off exactly at the same time, and you can't all be on the cruise ship at the exact same time, right? You've got to space out all these passengers on board these cruise ships. Is there the infrastructure necessary, and how are people going to manage sort of getting around the peak season, if you will, of cruising?
Yeah, so I think that's where the numbers is important. With more and more vessels, cruise ships in China, we can certainly cater more to the holiday during hot period. But the holidays are going to always be the holidays, so it's always going to be very crowded. However, I think for a lot of the workers here in China, we have our annual leaves, which we can take, and also a lot of the seniors, like what we call the new seniors, they're retired, they're young, they're healthy, and they have money to travel, and they have the time, so they will space out themselves better, I think, in the future.
Yeah, really, really cool. And we're out of time, but you have to think about the home port, Shanghai being one of them, and then where everybody's going to go. But as this industry develops, I am sure it's going to be very exciting for you and everybody there. Jonathan, appreciate it. Thank you.